Hi, everyone, and welcome to Straight Talk with Sophia and One. Today it's April the 20th, 2023. And the question we're going to explore today is who controls the matrix? And I have a questioner with me, and she's going to read the question to get us started.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. And the question that I had submitted is, are we in a Westworld type of a game, in a super sophisticated game, in the most virtual reality there is, shifting through constant parallel realities billions of times per second? Is this how the illusion of notion through time is created? Are we just AIs with a consciousness? Is this reality we think we are in just a bunch of pixels we create along the way? And how can we all get rid of the limitations and go beyond? I think that was
Yeah,
long, but it's kind of like all those
right,
mixed questions together.
right. That sounds like, um, and as I mentioned earlier, the answer was long, and let's get into it. I want to start with a little discussion about you that uh, I had with one, and this is what he said. Um, the reason she has brought this question forward is her specialty, and on Earth today, that would be called science. And I didn't get that you were I don't know anything about you, but that you were a scientist or that was your field. I got that that was how your mind
Yeah,
work,
my mind is set onto
works.
science, but
Hmm.
I'm actually a singer performer, songwriter, so
That's
it has nothing to
wonderful.
do with it. But
Right.
as a kid, I had a choice to make at one time was either to become a professional dancer
Hmm.
or to become a doctor. So I chose the dancing, and that hit me hard because I got bone tumor just after that, so I had to stop, and
Wow.
I didn't want to go back to school, so I became a singer instead.
Well, that's perfect because he went on to say that in the field of creation, she is one of the architects. Her,
Wow.
I know, and I'm not, he didn't say a lot about that, but I'll tell you what else he said. He said her insatiable curiosity has drawn her into multiple situations of discovery and teaching, and the way that she teaches is through her own enthusiasm and her own growth, that it is infectious, and in most every instance, she has advanced current knowledge. She has sought and found unanswerable conundrums, and these supply her with a following of others who carry on her work once she departs. And I didn't get the feeling that once you depart this life, I felt like that was once you depart maybe the group you're with or the
Yeah.
the room you're
How
in or something like
Yeah,
that, you know.
how I felt it was when I've got the answer I need, I hop onto something else.
Okay.
That
Okay.
that's how it felt to me.
Okay.
And yes, that really resonates with me.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah,
Just a
I'm a
few.
digger.
Yeah, okay. That's the feeling that came through when he was saying this. And he said in many of her lives, she is rejoining others who have also studied with her and followed her. And then he said, in a general sense, that each of you have specific specialties and purposes, and these are displayed somehow in each circumstance. And by circumstance, I believe he was referring to our lives, in each life that we have. So that was it.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, so that
I'm gonna have to wrap
resonates.
my head around all that.
Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, so the first question, this is, I've got like, as I said, it was long. So we'll start with, he said, is this a game? And the reference to Westworld is used here perhaps due to its familiarity. And he said, reference points are necessary in order to achieve comprehension. It is a process of dot connecting that you proceed through now. Some of the dots are right in front of you, and you have not yet put them together. The learning is gradual until it is not, and at some point it will be, quote, all at once, end quote, but not yet. He said the
And that's
game,
the event.
I believe that's what he referred to, yes. I think that's what he meant when everything comes together for us and
Yeah, we all have the same knowledge at the same
at the
time.
same time, yeah.
Mm.
He said, the game label portrays an idea that life is conducted for amusement. This is not quite accurate. Although the reference helps define what is going on, as far as levels of players and their associated avatars, it is not played for amusement. Each avatar is carefully chosen for specific and direct experience. This is in order to facilitate learning and to accomplish growth. And they are connected ultimately by the one overseeing it all. They are simultaneous. You do not yet comprehend the vast reaches of life, of your life. The topic of this question introduces you to its possibilities. Simultaneous avatars lead to the idea that the notion of past and future are irrelevant. Each action reaches beyond itself and alters the condition of each avatar.
Wow.
And yeah, right. So, wow.
Yeah,
hmm
that's going to be a tough one to wrap around.
So things that we do here affect all of us, all of
All
us.
of us in all lives, past and future, and all timelines.
He says, what happens is that the soul determines its level of involvement according to current focus. And by that, he meant the life you're on right now. You know, this one, the one where you and I are speaking on Zoom on April 20th. Okay. And then he said, the focus is slowed down for you in your current assumption and named seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years, centuries. The labels apply only to what is currently focused on and what is determined by the choice made by the soul essence. Time doesn't travel, it's all perception.
Okay, so we could say, if we go like that, is that how about the speed of, as the guy was saying in the video, the speed of light is actually not the speed of light, but the speed of our perception of light.
Yes, yes. That's what it's, that's what it's, and yeah, I think so. This is, yeah, okay.
Complicated.
He said, you have come to refer to your soul's essence as your higher self. It illustrates a greater deal of perception with that label, yet it is not higher or more advanced in any way than you imagine yourself to be right now. The difference is that your soul essence has access to each simultaneous. So I'm hearing something in the background.
Yeah, no, my husband just answered a phone call. Just a second. Chérie,
okay.
Je suis désolée, mais là, sorry.
I'll just wait. Yeah, we can wait. Okay.
No, done. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I just don't want this. This is an important sentence. I want to make sure it gets out on the recording. The difference is that your soul essence, which is we call our higher self, has access to each simultaneous avatar in the field, the creator field.
Wow. So the same consciousness, put it that way, our soul, our avatar is playing, well, not playing, is in every single timeline that's out there.
Yes.
Doing something, whatever it is at that specific time and that specific life that the higher self has chosen.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's always involved in all of them because they're simultaneous. That's the mind blowing part. And yeah.
To say the least.
To say the least. Okay, so then the next section that I'll read here is this concept of time.
Okay.
He said, it is relative, and you've each experienced moments that felt like days, as well as days that felt like moments. He said, in fact, your experience of time will depend on intention. And what are you gaining from the experience and how much focus / time, so he's using focus and time interchangeable there, is necessary to accomplish what it is you intend to get from the experience.
Okay, so time is if you can put it in other words, is that time is not set.
Right.
It depends on the experience that one has to go through. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why sometimes when you think 5 minutes has gone by, 3 hours have gone by, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you sit there and you think that time is not going fast enough.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
So he says more on this. He said, time suggests to you the format within which you will proceed in order to perceive cause and effect. It is implicit in the matrix and deemed necessary. It is not real in the sense that it is not solid. It fluctuates. And each of you utilize those fluctuations in order to accomplish your intended perceptions. And when he said it is implicit in the matrix and deemed necessary, what I also got, because often it's more than I write. I can't write it all. So implicit in the matrix and deemed necessary, we have to see the effect of what our words say, right? When we say,
So
something.
that would go to quote well, the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm,
Your thoughts become what you experience in your life.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Something
After,
like
right? After we think them, right? So we
yeah,
think
after
them,
you think them,
right? Yeah, and it comes
and
later.
then yeah,
I think about blue cars and then I see blue cars all day long in the car on the
yeah. How
street,
about
right?
yep?
Right?
Okay.
Okay. So then he says, you are one and you are individual components of that one that is you. The reason for the individual perceptions is for growth. There is truth in the statement that says source desire to experience itself. You've heard that before, right? That's why we're
Yep.
here. That's okay. There are simultaneous components creating and recreating trillions of times per second. You are here in order to glean the most from every one of those seconds so that everything is ultimately known. Creation exists because life is a known concept that desires to know itself. You cannot remove the sacred from this discussion. It's not able to stand without it. Ultimately, one is truth. The discovery of the complexity of that truth is the ultimate quest for man. Humankind on Earth has lived beneath veils of illusion and fabrication. There are societies in other places without such veils that are further in their comprehension because of that. And you approach a time when truth becomes the order of the day. It will be a joyous time indeed. And then he goes on to talk. Do you want to talk anything about that before I move? Because it's like a subject change here a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy because well, crazy. Sorry, I'm not feeling wanting to offend anyone, but gee, it's like every single person that we are in all these different timelines. Thing is that here, as I am, I can only think of what I'm doing. I have no idea what my other avatars are doing.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
the only person that does know is my higher self. And if I
Right.
want to get that information, I have to go and knock on that door.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. That's true, isn't it? Yeah, that's true. That's
Well,
true.
then, and if I'm aware and can knock on the door of my higher self, then I'll be able to see all the possibles that are out there that I've been going through and doing and the reasons for which I've been doing them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's sort of, I don't know that this is true, but it feels to me that when that when that access happens, when that access actually happens for us, it will coincide with what we're calling enlightenment, the event,
Yeah, the
whatever
event,
we're
yeah,
calling it, right? That access will be, and then all will be known to us at the same time. And we'll still choose to focus wherever we are, but we'll also know
yeah, we can go and have a
other.
trip somewhere else if we feel like it.
Wouldn't that be nice? Go someplace
Yeah,
where, where I'm a ballet dancer instead of a writer and a teacher,
exactly.
right? So yeah, okay.
Exactly. No, that'll be funky.
I mean, that's just, I'm imagining that. I wasn't told that, but I don't know.
No,
It
no, but
seems like that
it's
would be
just
true, right?
exactly because you
Yeah.
could choose, maybe in a different timeline, I did continue to be a dancer. And
Yes.
maybe in a different timeline, I am a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only person that does know that information is not me as I am here today, but my higher self.
Right, right, right.
So wow. Then I can
Yeah.
go and say, yeah, no, but I can help you out as a doctor because I have a couple of theories here. Maybe you're in that big pharma crap and I don't want to be around that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can
Exactly.
twist myself in that other life and pull my leg. That'll be fun.
Wow. Yeah, the possibilities, well, they're mind-blowing, I think.
Yeah, that's it. It's just
Yeah.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, wow. That's all you can say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's beautiful and amazing and brilliant, actually,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yes, I
okay.
agree.
Yeah. So, okay, so the game revolves around each individual player. You are fascinated with each other because by watching, you observe the infinite number of possibilities that are available to you. In this way, seeds are planted for more avatars. I love that.
Okay.
So
Now, yeah, what does he call a seed?
I think what he meant, well, what I took from that line was that in this life, because again, later on, he talks about that free will is always a constant with us. And so our avatar, we're going to call ourselves, our avatar has free will. And so in free will, you see a dancer, or I see a ballet dancer, which is something I'm not even close to being in this life. And I say, wouldn't that be amazing? So I have so that's a seed planted for another avatar because that's something I don't believe I've experienced, or I'm interested in it. I'm curious enough about it. So I would think the other avatar would be another version of this self, not in this life, but in some other future past simultaneous
Okay.
life. That's what I thought it meant. Did you hear
Okay.
something different than that or
No,
what?
no, I didn't know. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to wrap myself around it because it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that each time you do have a thought, you can create another timeline
Mm-hmm.
where you become something else.
Where you're actually that thing, you're exploring that because life
Yep.
is infinite. Yeah. So he said there is growth always, even when a life appears to stagnate or be cut off before full import was gained, something was achieved. It may have been a discovery of limits. You do not know another's purpose or plan, regardless of how close you may become to that other.
Well, each
He's,
one has his own free will. So yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The intriguing aspect of life is found in the relationships formed while that life is lived. These are also the wild cards that alter even the most carefully laid plans.
Hmm.
And then he said, the purpose of the game is not to win or even to demonstrate superiority. It is merely to play, to have the experience of life. There are no mistaken avatars, regardless of how long or short-lived they are, or what earthly deeds they accomplish while alive. Some appear hideous, while others divine. Yet I tell you that the broadcasting of judgment onto another soul blemishes not the soul in question, but your own, for you are mirrors of each other in every direction. Your life will not escape this fact. And this was huge when he said this, because I felt like this brings it all back to it's all about you, me. It's all about you, life, everything, creation, source,
Yep.
everything we do that we think is causing an effect on someone else is actually causing an effect on ourselves,
Well, yeah,
right?
that's why we're told not to judge.
Right. And that's been so, well, that's a whole nother discussion, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
another
that's
long one.
a whole nother long discussion. But yes, maybe underneath that message, there is truth. And the truth is that it's a self-defeating idea to, spend a lot of time judging someone else because the only one you're affecting is yourself.
Well, yeah, first because you don't know what the other person's walking in. You haven't got his shoes on, so you have no idea what's going on. And secondly, yeah, usually what you judge in someone else is because you don't like it in your own self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think in some cases it's even that you don't even know it exists in yourself, or you don't see it in yourself. You just know it makes you really uncomfortable, so you judge it, because it
Yep,
seems right, because
I
it
agree.
doesn't feel right for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Um, he said the truth about the matrix is that it is continually defined by perception. You, from an expanded point of view, imagined an avatar living life now in this awakening moment on Earth. He said, this expanded you, which is our higher self, holds a larger perspective than this avatar you does. You are deciding just how to play the avatar. You say yes or no to the job, the lover, the party, that extra piece of cake, whatever. That's all your decision. That's not the higher self doesn't make those decisions. You do. The avatar you does. He
Has it
said,
always been like that?
He said, the one in control of your life is you. It has always been you. And then he said, you can expand the experience just as far beyond reality as you want to. And in fact, these questions are doing that. And it is ultimately what you do with the answers that will determine how far you go beyond this reality. He said, the avatar has free will within the construct of its placement, meaning within this matrix that you and I are in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on to describe, he said, the game setup works well to describe the order of things. First, the avatars are on the game board until some fatal event, which I laughed when that came through. I was like, oh, so we die.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. So that was number one. And then the second one was the expanded you, which that's what his term, my term is our higher self, observes and guides subtly or not so subtly, giving every opportunity to stay the course so that the intended purpose is achieved. So I felt like that was the plan for life. Whatever, you wanted to come in and learn forgiveness or acceptance or hatred or pain or something. I don't know, whatever the plan was. Until you and that's what the higher self's purpose is. The expanded you is what it's called here. And then the last part here is the source provides the game board and every additional avatar. Ultimately, each emotion experienced by the avatar is felt by source, and source is pleased every single time. So that really was interesting for me because I think about that, the three parts, right? The avatar, the higher self,
Yep.
and source, and that the emotions felt by you and by me, by ourselves, are not felt by our higher self. They're felt by the source.
Source.
So the higher self is like a middle manager,
Yes, at the
right?
middleman. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And has all the information about what we've done, but hasn't cried the tears or, you know,
So our higher self does not have any emotions.
no,
They
I don't
go directly into source.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know that they don't have emotions. I just don't know from
They feel
this,
it.
can you,
They don't.
that they don't,
We,
you feel that.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
we
Okay.
feel it. We feel the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
We live it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
feel it. We live it.
Mm-hmm.
But then our higher self just sends it directly to source
Mm-hmm.
without going through,
Right. Yes.
going through the emotion. They know what it is. Well, this is what I'm interpreting, making it sound like,
Right. Right.
is that they know what it is, but they can't feel it.
So yeah, I'm impulsed to share something here in my experience that maybe actually I think validates this. It's
Mm-hmm.
that um my partner is a deep trance channel, and when he channels, it's his higher self that comes through. That's the only one he uses, right? So
Okay.
so he leaves his body, his higher self comes in, and sometimes when he does it, he has reading glasses and he has them on his head when that happens. And when his higher self comes in, he says, "What is this?" And he takes it up. He said, "I don't know why he wears those. I can't see anything out of them." And I said, "So your eyes, when you're in that body, are fine?" He says, "I just utilize the body." He said the faulty eyesight is his experience here. It's not mine. And I think that validates what you
Yeah,
just said, right? Yeah.
exactly. So higher self is pure and has, how do you say, is, when I mean pure, is has no sicknesses, no things going wrong. We're
Right.
just the ones experiencing it.
Right.
So everything goes through to the higher self. All the emotion that person, well, the higher self cannot have it, so it goes
Right.
directly to source.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Wow, right? Yeah, that's perfectly said.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There we go again. 1,000 questions.
So, right? I know. I know. So, okay. So I want to go on to, there's a few things there's so much here, but I want to go on to this next part here. He said, the wording around reality and the matrix and avatar and creation can sound false as none of what is seen, felt, heard, and acted upon matters. And nothing could be further from the truth. He said, the exquisite sensations of every emotion enrich creation itself. Each microsecond expands the possible and makes known the probable, given all potentials. In this way, each life has purpose, and that purpose is crafted by none other than you.
Yeah, the higher self.
Mm-hmm.
We're just an avatar. Hmm.
But I don't think it's just. I think that, I mean,
Well,
that's
that
not
gives a limitation, which I shouldn't be doing, but it's we're just, we're not just an avatar, we're an avatar with consciousness.
with consciousness. And we have the sadness, the broken heart, the broken leg, the fear, or whatever, happiness,
Yeah,
joy,
yeah,
right?
we have it all.
Right.
Just depends, as he stated earlier, it depends on what we choose and what we have chosen to experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So then he said, um, your questions attempt to discover the mechanism of creation itself, and the movie that you watched leads to these questions and provides a gateway to truth. It serves as an attempt to portray the divine in a systematic, scientific, mathematical formula so that it can be explained in words and symbols and ideas that are already familiar. The merging of what is known or what is suspected is the basis of scientific inquiry. And then he said, what man will come to discover is that the truth in all things is knowable and apparent once there is an allowance for the divine. For creation's building blocks are ideas, emotions, and thoughts. And this sounds nonsensical to those who are bound and determined that it all must be, quote, real, end quote. He said, ideas, thoughts, and emotions cannot be measured in any concrete manner. It is the effect of those that are seen on your measuring machines, as in what happens after an emotion is felt, or a thought arises, or an idea arrives. Each lead to some action and thus initiates the art of creation. And when he said that, the art of creation, I got like almost like a big neon sign that said, and it is an art. And that we, the avatars, human avatars, are the artists. We are
Of
creating
our own lives.
of our own lives. And here's in order to go beyond, excuse me, you must accept and allow for the unexpected. This is where the magic and the power of the human is discovered. Realize that your society has been intentionally structured to lock these truths away from you. They've been labeled, ridiculed, and if pursued in any serious fashion, often leave you without the one thing necessary to succeed on earth, which is money. This has been part of the plan always.
Yeah.
So that was interesting that he addressed that as part of that
Yeah, that is interesting.
discussion. And that's why it's so hard for us to trust anything, because almost nothing that's published reflects what we feel and see as truth.
Well, no, we've always been, the little black sheep that rebels, or I don't know what we should call ourselves, because we all, well, at least for what I'm concerned, is that I've always, had to fight to get where I am,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not sheep.
Mm-hmm.
We don't follow. We question it. Well, at least I do. I question every single thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what led me to where I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to question myself a whole bunch more.
Well, according to him, that's a good thing to do. So
Yeah.
it's going to lead us all ahead. He said he'd like to address each inquiry specifically in this next section. He said, you're not so much shifting through a multitude of parallel realities every second. You are a creation machine. Each now you are creating again, often on repeat, as in when you look at your couch, until your expectations are satisfied. You are unable to create what you won't allow for. And that really connects to the last thing we were talking about, as far as society was intentionally structured to lock these truths away from you. So we won't allow for things we can't believe are true, because they're not, quote, real. They haven't been published in a scientific journal. They didn't teach us that in school, whatever.
Yeah. Limitations.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Total limitations. Well, that's
mm-hmm,
the education, part of the education, wherever it comes from, home, generational, television.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We've been raised in every single part of ourselves as everything has limits. And we're
Mm-hmm.
changing that,
Mm-hmm.
becoming limitless human beings.
Mm-hmm. Right. And to
That
see
is super
ourselves,
interesting.
it is, and to see ourselves that way, it's empowering, which is the reason why they didn't want us to see it. Right.
With so many other things, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like in Westworld,
Mm-hmm.
because that was the reference,
Mm-hmm.
one of the AIs in there had a glitch.
Mm-hmm.
And from that glitch started a rebellion, started they some of them became rebels and decided no, they wanted answers and they wanted more answers, and then they and this and that. That's the part I keep of the movie, of the series. I'm not keeping all the hard, dirty, yucky stuff.
Yeah.
It's that part that was super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just like what in the code activations that I watched. Same thing. It's that something is there. We as yet don't have the entire understanding of it, all of the pieces of the puzzle, and we're just trying to put the puzzle together so that we know where we're going and what we're doing and who we are and what we're here for.
And what we're building.
Yeah, yeah,
It's difficult to build a beautiful life if you don't know you're building it, right? I mean, so if you don't know what your puzzle's supposed to be, how are you going to know where to put the pieces,
exactly. You have to have a
right?
picture of that, and that's
Mm-hmm.
apparently the imagination. And once you started
Mm-hmm.
having the imagination, then you get more pieces of the puzzle to put there.
And
But yeah, wow.
wow, is right. Because as you're talking, I'm thinking about when you said the imagination, all I could think about was, and now think about the technology and the machines that our younger ones are, thrown at them when they're 3 years old. They're already looking at a screen instead of, letting their
Being
imaginations.
outside and yeah,
Yeah.
using their
Mm-hmm.
imagination, being
Mm-hmm.
outside and creating.
Mm-hmm. They're just being fed a series of, dopamine producing, happy things. You get
Yeah,
stars if you get it this right, or you get,
yeah.
whatever
No,
points.
I must admit I wasn't as awake as I was when I had my kids and they were young.
Mm-hmm.
So they did get a whole bunch of those television shows.
Mm-hmm.
But they got a whole bunch of other stuff too, which means that even them today question.
Mm-hmm.
I've always,
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, you want to discuss that? Let's discuss that. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want me to change my mind, you're going to have to tell me why and really, show me why.
Mm-hmm.
And today they question too, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Which
But
is.
not all kids are like that. A lot of them just follow the lead of whoever is leading.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Although I can see in the world today, a lot of people are starting to sit down and question, which is beautiful to watch.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. It's encouraging, and it falls back to when I watch it. I try to stay away from it, but I am on social media very briefly, often, just because of what I do. But I try to stay away from it, and I hear and see, even with my own children, um, others doing the same, trying to stay away because you can feel it. It does. It sucks you in,
Or it
and
does.
it
You
really
become
does.
addicted.
Absolutely. And it.
Addicted and
Hmm.
in my professional way, I'm a lot on social media, and
Hmm.
sometimes I really have to, or my husband will tell me, just put that down.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
go, oh, I got caught into it again, so I just put
Yes.
it down and I move to something else,
Right.
because otherwise I'd be on it all day long looking for gigs and oh, how did I sing
Yes.
and this and that, okay, let's
Hmm.
do this, and I
Hmm.
get caught up.
You
Yep.
do. And it's not always, yeah, it's not always helpful. Sometimes you're reading beautiful pieces or watching beautiful, beautiful works, but most times you're not because we
No,
are
most
human.
times yep, no, most times it's hideous and I don't like it,
Hmm.
and now I zap.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
zap a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we're humans, so we fell into the program to whatever level we did as well. And now we're out of it,
Yes.
getting out of it or whatever.
Yep. Trying, doing our
Hmm.
best. We're not trying because I don't like the word trying. We're
Yeah,
doing our best to get out of it.
that's absolutely true. I like that too.
Mm.
He said, I'll go on to see what he said here. There's a group consciousness that is creative as well. Each of you, all of you are continuously building your world. And then he goes on to, now this is a nice, what we were talking about leads into the next section. He said, it is for this reason that the media in all of its forms has been weaponized. Because ideas are powerful tools, they initiate change at all levels. So that's all I said about that. But that's so true. It's hard to see that when you're, you know, when you're
Stuck in it.
stuck in it for that 10 minutes or half an hour or whatever it leads to. But yeah, it's so true.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, stuck into it. And that's, they start very early in kindergarten and
oh my
pre-kindergarten,
goodness.
and you have to learn this, but yet I don't want to learn that. What am I going to use it for? I want to learn that. This was
Mm-hmm.
me. I was 5, 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you teaching me this? It's going to be of no use in my life. I want to learn that. Yes, but you have to learn this. I don't care. I'm not learning that.
You were a rebel at
Yeah, that was it.
from the
Started very young.
start.
Yes, I started very young,
Hmm.
and I'm continuing it. If
Hmm.
I'm not happy, I'll just get out of it. But yeah, no, yeah, just so many times have I put myself in situations like that where no, I'm not learning that because it's not going to be any use for me.
Hmm. Hmm. I love that because that means that you always recognize the access to something else. And there's something inside of you that said something different than what you were being told. And
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
totally. And I remember when I was in the last year of junior high school, at least where I was, we had the whole nation had to do an exam, and the exam was history. And that last year you study World War II,
Hmm.
and they asked a whole bunch of questions about World War II, and I just answered, you guys, I think that what you haven't understood is that all these wars are just the exact same thing, repetition of the exact same thing with different actors, different clothing, different place, but it's exactly the same thing. And until you have not understood that, it will continue.
And that's how you answered it at 13 or 12, whatever age you are.
Yes, yes.
I love
and
that.
I got the notations was out of 20, and of course I got one because I was there and I answered the thing.
Right, right.
um, because it was national, so it wasn't my teacher who was correcting.
Right, right.
And everyone came with books and what and blah blah blah, and they did essays of 4, 5, 10 pages.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just
right.
took a half a page and told them a piece of my mind. And and then the teacher came to me afterwards and said, well, I gave you an 18 to counterbalance that because you opened my mind.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
you had an enlightened teacher. That's great.
Yep.
See, they always exist.
So,
Yeah.
and I didn't care. You could give me a 1. I'm not going to change my thoughts because you're giving me a 1 out of 20. It's just my thinking, and I think I'm right. I think you're the
Hmm.
one who's wrong, but that's okay. But it was kind of like that was me in school.
Hmm. That's
So
wonderful. What a great story. Oh, I
that,
love that.
thank you. That goes exactly with what we're saying is that,
It does. It fits right in.
yeah,
Um,
well, and it gives me another piece of the puzzle that I was right. Well, in my perspective, in my life, and my experience, I was right to say that at the time, not even knowing what I know
right,
today.
right. Yeah, right, right, right. So, well, get through this rest part here. It says, in answer to the question, pixels do not do you justice or give rise to the magnificent cooperation, synchronicity, and interdependence that defines you. It is here where an acceptance of divinity, genius, source, and, quote, beyond current comprehension enter the picture. For you are real and measurable, and imagined and unmeasurable, all at the same moment. And that's a big sentence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're real and not real at the same time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Gee, I hadn't thought of it that way. You see, more questions.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, dang a lang.
And then he goes on a little bit more to say, and then we'll be finished. He said, what you can do is adopt an idea that holds that these bodies are not limitations, but instead suits holding undiscovered potential. See this realm as or game as an exploration, and know that when you are stuck at some point or someplace, it means that you're being called to push further into inquiry. Expect to discover the unexpected way out or way through. And in this way, your life will always be an adventure, and you are guaranteed a satisfactory journey.
Wow.
And I thought that was a nice way to think about it. Beautiful way, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
I have to think that one through.
Mm-hmm.
Reread it and re-listen to it about 10 times before I can
Mm-hmm.
grasp it.
Okay. Yeah, I've read this probably 5 or 6 times since it came through. He closes out by saying these last few sentences. There is a reason you've come to this question now. The journey of awakening does not disregard the current perspective as unhelpful or unaware. This human body, affords you with a multitude of possibilities. Awakening happens within the exploration of these and happens when unexpected ideas initiate the novel. You find yourself now at the cusp of discovery of infinite human potential. And that's how he ended it.
Wow, that reminds me of Einstein saying that if we used 5% more of our brain, we'd be able to fly.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know he said that.
Yep.
That's new for me. Wow. Wow. Yeah.
So this is actually what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. It is, isn't it? Yeah. He's saying if we just, and also he didn't say it this time, but in other times he said things that sound like, and the frequency now is supporting our growth, our expansion. So this is a good time for us to.
Yeah, to expand, to open our brains, to think more,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to go out there, get the information, change the world,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
make it a much better place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are coming. We're here at the right time to be asking these questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
What seems like, as you said earlier, is that we're all connecting to the same thoughts, same, like others are speaking about this exact subject at this exact, not exact same
Mm-hmm.
time, but sort of like in the same range of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
very interesting because it'll be able to give us different perspectives and actually um, figure out which one resonates the best with each of us
Mm-hmm. And what will
until
it?
we get the event where everything is shown and
Mm-hmm.
heard and seen.
Mm-hmm. And also to hear it and see it and know it in ways that we can, like you said, resonate. I guess that's the same word. I was just thinking of what you can understand, because sometimes we can all be hearing the same words, and for some of us it's bouncing off our forehead, and for others of us it's sinking deep in and saying, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, because that depends on on where we are in comparison to that matter or what subject.
Mm-hmm.
We're not all at the same comprehension level or the same awakening level or the same consciousness. So until we're all at the same place, we have different perspectives on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also it's presented in different ways, right? Like comedians, performers, scientists, doctors, podcasters, YouTubers, but everybody has a different way of doing it. And so we
Yep.
we gravitate to the ones that speak
That
to
we
us.
resonate with, that feels comfortable with us until we
Mm-hmm.
move on, and maybe then we can come back to the person that we dis I'm not going to say discarded, but it's not in the way I'm dumping them. It's just that I moved on to something else. And oh no, I remember that person did say that, and that was super
Mm-hmm.
smart. I just couldn't hear it at the time.
Mm-hmm. And that's in the very beginning when I was reading it, and when he said there are dots in front of you that you haven't connected yet. And that's probably it, right? We kind of spread out, search around, grab all the information, and then come back and go, oh, this is how it all fits,
Yep, the
right?
pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I'm in there.
yeah. Yeah, I think we all are.
Yep.
So, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say, before
No,
we shut
not for
this
now.
down?
Thank you so much. That would be, yeah, that would be a great start and end is just a thank you. I'm blessed, grateful. Um, and thank you for, letting me be and helping me expand because that's exactly what all this is going to do.
Well, you're
I'm
welcome.
gonna have to wrap my head around it all,
Hmm.
re-listen to it about 10 times before I can, make something out of it in
Hmm.
my in my own way of digesting, but it'll be fun.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
really will be to discover more.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for asking the question because it's expanded my knowing and added to my questions and probably will for everybody who's listening. So it
Well,
was
that makes
great.
me super happy.
Yeah, yes, it's
It does. It makes
just
my day to
super.
help anyone else. It just helps me and makes me feel good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, great, because I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people. So I'm going to shut this down. So thanks. That's it for today, everyone. And thanks for listening and sending lots of love and light. And we'll see you in the next episode.